back once again for another episode of Legacy Builders. And listen, let me tell you something. With me today, I cannot wait for us to dive in and talk about the things that this woman right here has been doing and the things that she's done. All right? I mean, I've known this woman for, I don't even want to say how many years. We're just going to say I've known her for a very, very, very long time. And the things that I've witnessed her do, her perseverance, the struggles, all the things that it takes to build a legacy. I mean, she embodies it, right? Marjory Cesar, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
And you know, I'd be remiss to leave out Marjory Cesar with Cesar and Associates. I mean, you see the marketing, you see the brand, it's right here in the flesh, all right?
That's right.
Marjory, how are you? Thank you so much for taking the time to be out here with me today.
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Listen, the pleasure's all mine. And as you can see, we have the beautiful backdrop of the city of Atlanta behind us.
Gorgeous.
Right? It's a
Gorgeous.
beautiful night. Beautiful, beautiful night. The moon is bright. I mean, if you can't tell, all this light is actually coming from the moon. It's just, it's almost like the sun out here, right? But listen, we're gonna dive right in, Marge. I mean, Marjory is a real estate expert, broker, extraordinaire, mother of three, single mother, raised 3 kids. You know, the things that you've done, you a philanthropist, you give back to your community, you do a lot, right? So let's just dive in. Tell people who you are real quick, aside from the things that I've had to say.
Okay, so yes, I'm a single mom of 3. I have lived in Georgia for 22 years, and I'm going to be a real estate agent, broker, for 20 years next year.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. All right? That is amazing. So there's... That's what happens when you're in the city of Atlanta. We outside, baby. We outside. All right? Neon lights, they coming through. I know you saw that. We here with it, right? Natural, in the element. We outside, and I love that.
Yes.
That's just part of what it is, all right? So, with everything that you've been doing, right? Let's talk about where your journey began, right? In 2006, before pivoting into real estate, you actually was an accountant.
Yes.
And so talk about that transition and how you've been able to use your background as an accountant to shape your career as a real estate agent and now broker.
Yes, so I actually started off as an accountant in high school. And as I went into college, decided to, I was going to pursue law. Okay, I graduated under the pre-law program. Okay. With a major in political science and a double major in accounting.
Oh, watch out. Okay? Watch out.
So I thought I was going to be an attorney, but I ended up liking accounting. Okay. So I went ahead with that career and continued that career for a while. It wasn't until I moved to Georgia and I bought my home. And I had someone who's a dear friend of me now, actually, was my realtor. And the experience was such a good experience that I always loved helping people. And I was a single mom at the time of 2. So I thought, man, I could do this. Right. I'd love to do this. So then I decided to go ahead and pursue my real estate license.
Wow, that is...
And...
Oh, there's more. Wait, there's more.
You also asked me how accounting helped me.
Yes.
And you know, when you're a real estate agent or a real estate broker, you're running your own business. Right. And so now you have to learn to do your own accounting. You have to create spreadsheets and keep track of everything. And this is before we had CRMs, and so spreadsheets was everything.
Let's talk about what a CRM real quick for those who don't know. CRM is
A CRM is basically the system that you use to keep all of your database, communicate with your database, keep track of everything, also your numbers, and the financials as well. All right. So, but before it was all Excel.
Oh man, you had to plug everything in one by one.
So it definitely prepared me for that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about that. So now you've transitioned, you're making the transition, and you're in a new industry as a single mother. That couldn't have been easy, right? So let's talk about some of the obstacles that you had to overcome. Like, what would you say is the toughest thing? I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I have a showing, but I have a kid that needs to get picked up from school or needs to get dropped off to school, and their school is here, but the house that my client wants to see is in, for those of us in Marietta, versus Woodstock. If you know Atlanta, that's not around the corner.
Right.
Right? So let's talk about some of the challenges that you faced transitioning from accounting, which, I'd like to say, a little more stable than a real estate agent, no?
Yes. So I learned very quickly that you have to, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When you're a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically starting your own business. I also learned very quickly that it helps to know people. So I moved from Boston to Georgia and didn't know anyone.
Right. And you moved to Woodstock.
And I moved to Woodstock.
Let's talk about it.
I didn't have a network of people.
Yeah.
At all. So the obstacles were getting to the point where, how do I put it? I got to the point where I realized it wasn't working. And I learned what happens when anyone's trying to start a business. You get to a point where you want to quit because it wasn't working.
Right.
So I wanted to go back to accounting.
Right.
I hit what I call my rock bottom. I didn't know where money was coming from, and I thought I was going to have to move out of my house.
Wow.
So what I did is I said, I'm going to give myself 6 months. And it's either I make it or I'm going back to accounting. And in that 6 months, I worked more than I've ever worked. And I worked a lot in accounting. I mean, overtime that I didn't get paid for.
Right.
Which is another reason I left.
Right.
But I worked and I learned and I studied. And what I love about the company that I'm with, that I joined, is that I was able to learn from people that have done it ahead of me, right? Success leaves clues.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Success
leaves clues.
Yes.
I like that.
And so watching that success and following those clues and being able to learn from what they did to succeed, was it easy? No.
Not at all.
Not even a little bit. But doing and implementing what I learned is what helped me to get started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, whew. Listen, you talk about not knowing where money was coming from. The reality is, there are people watching you right now, that's watching this right now, that knows exactly what that feels like. That knows what it feels like to say, I'm starting this business, I'm getting ready to go, and I'm going, and then they run, bow, right into a wall, right?
Yep.
And, someone once said to me that there's no such thing as someone closing a door. Life is more like a maze, right?
Yeah.
So instead of looking at a door being closed as a door being closed, it's just the end of that part of the maze, and you have to pivot. And, you either go left, right, or you may have to go back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that and how that philosophy falls into what it is you're doing.
So I remember that feeling all too well, and I make sure never to forget that feeling. Because I always remember that feeling can be just a month away. So you can't ever forget that it's very easy to get back there.
Right.
What I will say is, you get to a point where, how do I put this? You get to a point where you realize that you've reached the point where it's just you and God. And that's when you know that God is your only option. Okay, so I don't take a full credit for everything that's happened. When I made that decision to give myself 6 months, I had $12 in the bank. And I had my third child at this time, and I couldn't buy a pack of diapers.
Wow.
I couldn't buy a pack of diapers. I had $12. And so I got to the point where I had to decide, it's either I'm gonna make it or I'm not. And to me, not making it, looking at my kids, looking at my situation on the verge of almost losing my home, there was no other option.
Right.
And I just didn't want to go back to accounting. So, to answer your question of other people in the situation, when you want to quit is the moment. It's that line. Once you just continue past that line is when the breakthrough happens.
Man, listen. We're gonna keep it all the way 100 out here. That's the whole point of this piece that we do, is to highlight people like you that has broken through, right? Because what you're saying, I can't even explain how I'm feeling. I hope that you guys are grasping this right now, because I remember those days for you, right? And I was not on, my mindset hadn't shifted the way yours had. And I recall watching those rock bottom moments. For those, she didn't tell you all the rock bottom. You had to happen to give up her car. These are things that I witnessed, okay, people? So this is actually what happened. And listen, Legacy Builders, right? It's about building a legacy, something that will live long past you're gone.
100%.
Right? That's the whole point, right? And we go from the story you just told. About getting ready to lose your home. I just threw in how you almost lost your, well, not almost, you lost your car, right? Let's talk about it. And now, okay, so I've done my research, Miss Cesar and Associates.
Yeah.
All right? To tell you how long she's been in this game. Now we're at a place where she has a reputation in Marietta, Georgia, for those of you who don't know. All right? And the surrounding counties, okay, within Marietta, surrounding cities, counties, all of that, where you've amassed over 122 million in career volume.
Career volume.
Come on, people, pay attention to what's 122 million. Even if you take and break that down over the 20-year span. You know how you're an accountant? I've never been good with numbers. Okay, you throw some words at me, I'll start juggling them because I got it. I'm not gonna act like I know what 122 divided by 20 is. I'll let y'all people figure that part out, right? But not even only that, you have helped this in the area of 400 families.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And from your rock bottom moment to now we're talking about the level of success that you've had. What was the turning point? Like, what from that rock bottom moment and those, another thing I'm just kind of adding in there, those 6 months you spent in the basement making calls and finding clients and figuring it out, right? Again, because I was there, people. I saw these things happen.
You saw the worst.
I saw the worst. Yeah. Which is why it was so important to have you on this platform, because there are people who need to hear that, right? So let's talk about that, right? So what would you say your philosophies and practices that led you out of that sunken place that you were in?
When you know your why, you can overcome anyhow. I'll never forget that. I learned that. When you know your why, you can overcome anyhow. I also used to listen to people like Les Brown. Okay. And I kept hearing him over and over in my head saying, now is my time and good things are going to happen. Now is my time and good things are going to happen. I'm going to go to sleep saying that tonight. And then I used to listen to E, the hip hop preacher. Yes. I met him. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. And then I looked at my kids, and you're talking about building legacies. They got to see the worst, and I wanted them to be able to see the best of me. Oof. And I didn't know how long it was going to take for them to be able to see that. I just knew I wanted them to see it, because I realized I may not have been able to make this part of their life perfect, but I can show them what they can accomplish through anything. Right. That was my goal at the time. Oof.
That is, I mean, when you know your why, you can overcome any how. That needs to be on a billboard somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? I think that, oh man, like with all of that, right? How are you balancing your competing priorities, right? Because you have clients, you have a son in high school. He's not even in high school yet. Middle school. He's not even in high school yet.
Playing sports.
Sports.
Yep.
All over the place. We're gonna get into your volunteer efforts later on, right? That's coming, right? But how do you balance those competing priorities? As single mother, all these things we just mentioned, you're 122 million in career volume. You're doing all this with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
So when you know your why, you can overcome almost anyhow. So every year, a close realtor friend of mine in Florida, we write out our why. And your why needs to be something that almost makes you want to cry. And we mail it to each other every single year.
Oh, wow.
And we hold on to it, and then we mail them back the following year. And the reason why I mention that is because it's not always easy. People say there's a real work-life balance.
Right.
Not really. When you're working, you're all in.
Right.
When you're playing, you play. You know, when you choose what to prioritize your time. Like my kids got to the point where they understood, right now, mommy's helping this client.
Right.
And we know she goes all in. And I don't call them clients anymore. I'm helping my family.
Right.
You know? So it's like, they know I go all in, and they know that time is for that. But they know when I'm giving them my time, or when I'm at a football game, or I'm helping with homework, that's where my time is, right? And that might not be 100% to work at the moment, but it's about prioritizing, creating a calendar, and now I'm blessed enough to have a team. You see what I mean? I was solo. In the beginning, I was solo. So now I have a team, and I have great people that I work with that treat people the way I treat people, which is why I partner with them. That's the most important thing to me, is how people feel throughout the process.
So let's talk about people, right? Let's talk about people. So you're an associate broker, right? And team leader with, I'm seasoned associates, of course, but you're under the Keller Williams umbrella.
Absolutely.
So I want to definitely make sure I highlight Keller Williams, because you've been doing some really great things with them, and they have been a really strong backbone and support system for you to be able to amass this success that you have.
100%.
Right? So definitely shout out to Keller Williams. You will be tagged in this video. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Like, follow, subscribe, share, all of the above. Do all of those things. So as associate broker and team leader, let's talk about what leadership lessons you've learned as you manage seasoned associates. Because now you talked about a team, you talked about the people, you talked about all these things that without them, because people think, oh, I've done it. All the work you've done so much. You have to do the work, but there are parts of what you've accomplished that you couldn't have done alone.
Absolutely. That and I realized that as I began to grow, you get to a point where there's more than you can actually do and on your own, and you don't want the service that people receive to suffer because you're at capacity. Right. So you get to the point where you bring people on that can help you continue to provide that service, but also help more people. Right. And as a leader, what's always been so important to me is making sure the people I lead or that partner with me, I call them partners, right? They're on my team, that they are accomplishing big goals. Because it's not, I can't look at people as like robots. This person works for me. No. What are your goals? Right. What are your dreams? And how can what we're doing here help you accomplish your why? I have my why. Right. What's your why? Right. Right. And so we have those conversations, and I talk to my team members every single week. We get one-on-one every single week, and we talk about, how they're feeling throughout the process. Because to me, in order to serve people, the people that are working with you need to feel served. Right?
I love that. I love that. That is amazing. So, because you talk about, again, we keep talking about the people piece, right? We need people.
Yeah.
Right. People helping people ultimately, right? Because people work for people, right? That's really like the common denominator, right? Is the people. So let's talk about the people and the community engagement piece of it. I know you volunteer, you speak publicly in your community. Can you share some insight on some of the efforts that you're putting out and why you're so passionate about your volunteer efforts and the work that you do and giving back to your community?
That's huge for me because I've experienced firsthand what happens when people pour into you. Okay, so out of every home I sell, a portion goes to the Hope Center in Woodstock. Okay.
Okay.
The Hope Center in Woodstock. It's one of the organizations that I support. And why?
And you're going to tell us what the Hope Center is, right?
Yes. So the Hope Center is a crisis pregnancy center for women who are in crisis pregnancies or for single moms that are looking for resources for them with their children.
Oh, wow.
Or it does not just moms. It could be a couple that are in a situation and are looking for help and they're going to have a baby.
Oh, wow.
Right? They even offer marriage counseling. They offer so much.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And this is a Hope Center in Woodstock, Georgia.
Hope Center in Woodstock,
Georgia.
Woodstock,
Georgia.
And they travel to Atlanta, too, on this big, what do you call those? The home on wheels?
The mobile homes? Or no, the RV.
Yes, on a huge RV. They travel to Atlanta where you can get ultrasounds and STD testing and so much, and education for yourself. And so it gives women an option, right? And the reason why I am so passionate about them and why a portion of every single closing goes to the Hope Center is because my youngest was a Hope Center baby.
Wow.
And they were part of my journey in that rock bottom. And I learned firsthand what it feels like for someone to care about you and love you for no other reason other than Jesus.
Sheesh.
People I've never met and felt more love than I've ever felt.
Wow.
So that's one of the organizations that I support. And the second one is Elite Women of Excellence. I'm on the board for Elite Women of Excellence now. I wasn't previously. I used to just volunteer. I volunteer at one of the high schools in Marietta teaching love languages.
Oh my!
Which is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh yeah, we have to talk more about that. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So getting to teach high school girls about love languages and how to love themselves and how to make sure people know how to love them.
Man,
it's huge.
Listen, that is. Again, that's part of what we're doing here on this platform is, we're going to have therapists, we're going to have professionals, and we're also going to have young folks to talk about how to teach them how to have healthy relationships.
Yes.
Because what you're talking about in helping these young girls through is conversations that are not had enough, right? And after having daughters, my whole mindset shifted completely, right? And that, again, your story is, it's you not forgetting where you came from, right? You had a Hope Center baby, but you are a Hope Center, right? So when someone who you're, when you're volunteering and talking to the people here at Hope Center, I can imagine that part of your message is you're looking at who you could be.
Not just that, and I'll share two things. First, the Hope Center, where I started out, when I went in as a client, I had an advocate that I met with weekly. So I decided years later that I became an advocate. I went through the training, so I actually was an advocate there until my little one started getting older and playing sports, and then I have, the business growing, and I decided, okay, I can't give physically in this stage of my life, and I may be able to become an advocate again later, although what I will do is I will make sure a portion of every closing goes to that. With Elite Women of Excellence, I just want to mention what they do because I think it's really important.
Please.
So Elite Women of Excellence, they have a program for high school girls to help prepare them for college. They give scholarships to some of these girls. The girls have to earn them. Scholarships. They have retreats for the girls. They teach love languages there. They teach finances there. One of the best things I experienced through them was a mother-daughter retreat with my daughter when she was in high school. And why I joined them is because that's the first time I ever heard about love languages. Wow. So I just want to share that.
Yeah. Right.
I have more on that, but I know that's not what we're talking about right now.
Right. That's another one. You'll have to come back.
Yeah.
Too
so
easy.
We'll talk about that. But it's an amazing organization, and they teach abstinence.
Really?
For these young girls, yes. And there's a huge cotillion at the end as well at the end of the year. So awesome organization. But to answer your question, that when I work with these young ladies, you know, it's not about I want you to see what you could become. No, I want them to see that you have the choice to become. That's what I want them to see. Like, no, you don't have to become what I became, but you have a choice on who you're going to become. Right. And if you really decide to do that, there's no one, and no one that can stop you from doing that. Right. Nobody.
But you.
There's a book called The Mountain Is You. and I truly, you know, believe a lot of what's in it because it's really just you.
Right. I love that. Listen, this has been such great dialogue. We're going to keep going right in. And, you know, you've hosted events like financial literacy, right? Because part of your efforts to give back and giving back to the community, your volunteer efforts. Let's talk about how your financial literacy, and this not just the giveaways and the sweepstakes and all that other stuff that you're doing.
Right.
Oh, here they come. They're back. They're back. Hey, ATL, man, we love it out here. We love it out here. So let's talk about that, right? Like what you're doing from that perspective and how that's making an impact on the community that you're serving.
Yeah, so for me, what's really important, what I've always enjoyed about the platform I have is that I can educate, right? I can educate not just by myself, I can bring my partners on to educate, and the difference that makes, because when you have the education, you can make informed decisions.
Yes.
Whether it's buying a house or investing in real estate or building wealth or whatever it is you're doing. So I believe July 10th this week, I have financial literacy for young adults coming up. And I'm partnering with my lenders who provide mortgages so they can come and talk to young adults and even any age adults. But, you know, we're inviting young adults for them to learn how to build and get to a strong base financially to be able to buy a home when they're ready. Right. And it's not taught enough. It's not taught enough at all. You know, so shout out to Michael and John with Keller Home Loans who are going to come do that with me. I also have another one coming up in September, I believe, to talk about building wealth, and whether that's real estate or investing in stocks. Like, we're going to talk about everything. But the reason I do it is, again, providing the education. Every couple months I do a seller info session on selling your home, a buyer info session on buying a home. But I particularly love sharing with the youngins, man. Because when I go into the high school in Marietta and I'm talking to them about, you know, getting into the real estate business, and I go to their college fairs or career day, or I'm with Elite Women of Excellence and we have the financial day. And it's cool because they get to pick a job, see how much money they're going to make, how much rent's going to cost. I mean, they get to see real life.
That's pretty cool.
I wish I had that.
I was just going to say that. Where was that when let's not talk about how long ago that was.
Those are the reasons I volunteer. Because I realized how far ahead I would have been if I had that.
That is awesome.
I wouldn't have been so behind.
That is awesome. And again, this is all goes, you know, it's like a full circle moment because it's you giving back, right? Because at some point when you were down, there were people who picked you up, right? And that part of it is you leaving a legacy and building. And, we talk about work-life balance, right? And that's something that it's like, I don't know. I forget what's coming. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. I may edit this out. I may not. We're going to see what happens. All right? We're just going to keep going. All right? Because sometimes you just got to go with it. You got to go with it, man. But, with what you're doing, Marjory, is phenomenal. And the work-life balance that you mentioned that may or may not exist somewhere, I know you have hobbies. I know you're into music. You sing a little bit, you dance a little bit.
Yeah.
How are you able to do all of that, helping your family, because they're your family, right?
Yeah.
Volunteering to these great organizations, giving back financial literacy classes. When do you find time for Marjory?
What's amazing about that is because I was encouraged by someone who cares about me to do it. Because that was my question. How am I going to go take dance classes? That's what I said to them.
Right.
Dance classes. How am I going to work on writing this song? Like, really?
What are you talking about?
And they said, you doing it is the exact reason you'll be able to succeed. And I didn't get it at the time. But what's crazy is when I faced I had a fear, right?
Right.
Because I went to these dancing classes, loved it, was smiling the whole time. That's how I knew I needed to be there. So I was laughing at myself as I was learning.
Love it.
But I decided to perform in their shows and face a fear because I was afraid to do that.
Right.
And what's crazy is the training up to the show and doing the show was one of my most successful months in real estate.
Really?
And I attended all my son's games. He was playing football. So I really got what she said. She said, you doing it and it being something aside from work and aside from your responsibilities and aside from your volunteering that makes you happy is going to make you more successful.
Wow.
And she was right, out of nowhere. But I have to do those things to stay grounded because sometimes you have to shut off from everything.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great that you make sure you find the time. And then once you found the time to take care of you, pay attention, people, you became more successful.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
There could be a whole other show, the deepness behind that of what I've learned, but yes.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. That's amazing. So do you have any particular routines that help keep you grounded?
Okay, so especially for entrepreneurs or those wanting to build, or even if you're in your business but struggling, what changed my whole world is my morning routine. Okay, so my morning routine of gratitude is always first, right? Mm-hmm. Gratitude. And it used to be the same few things over and over. I'd write at least 10 things I'm grateful for because I realized the more I got into gratitude, the more God gave me to be grateful for, right?
Wow.
So then I realized, it doesn't matter how small it is, let me be grateful for just yesterday. What are some things that happened just yesterday?
Right.
Right? Whether it was my son sharing something with me that I never thought he'd tell me, right? Because, he's 12 and there's certain things he won't tell me.
Right.
Or a client finally got their home, or, gratitude. Gratitude, meditation, gratitude, meditation in the morning, and something physical, something as small as like a 15-minute walk or yoga or whatever.
Right.
I found that giving myself that time in the morning with no calls, no nothing, is what helps keep me grounded. Because I'm starting with that base of my peace.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I have another question for you because we're at the tail end of this. We're getting ready to bring it to a close.
Yes.
Because you've given so much great information that I can only imagine. I hope you guys are getting as much from this as I am because let me tell you, gratitude. I'm taking so much. I can't wait to edit this. Stop it. Just stop. But yeah, so almost 20 years in real estate, right? In just 1 year, right? You've seen the market cycles, you've seen trends up and down. What would you say is the most noteworthy? And you know, current times are different, right? So we're currently, and you're the professional, right? So we're currently in a swing, right? So what would you say is the most noteworthy trend that's going on right now?
Well, right now, buyers have a lot more opportunity, right? Previously, we were in a full-blown seller's market where there were multiple offers on properties. Right. Buyers couldn't ask for closing costs. Right now, there's an opportunity for buyers and investors.
Okay.
So buyers have an opportunity now where they can actually negotiate the price of the home. They can request some closing costs. Now, there are different pockets in Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. Some that are still, you might get some properties that are still hot, that have multiple offers, and you don't have a lot of options.
Right.
But the options have increased for buyers. It's definitely shifted closer to a buyer's market, and homes were selling 1 to 5 days on the market. Now they're taking maybe 30 to 60 days to sell. So we're in a different market, for sure. But it's an opportunity, and if there's one thing I can say, a lot of buyers wait because of interest rate.
Right.
Okay, they wait because of interest rate. And this may be a whole other, call or meeting for you.
Right.
If you look at the history of interest rates over the last 30 years or so, and you take the average interest rate, it's around 7%. And one thing that I found as I was going over stats, and why I love Keller Williams, because they share all these, these facts and helpful information with us, is in 1972, okay, I'm going to take you back for a second.
Right.
In 1972.
Older than me, people.
Yeah.
Let you guys know that, right?
When rates were slightly below 8, okay? Slightly below 8%. And if someone would have said, you know what, now that it's higher, I'm going to wait till it gets back below 8 before I make a purchase, okay?
Yeah.
Do you know the next time it was below 8? Guess how many years?
Oh my. I want to say 20.
Exactly 20.
What?
92.
What?
So imagine, how you've owned a home, you know how much equity you built?
Yes.
Can you imagine if they bought the home in 72 and ignored the rate? How much equity they would have had 20 years later?
Right.
Look at what's happened with real estate. So,
a
because real estate appreciates about 4 to 5% a year. Mm-hmm. During the COVID years, it was like 8 to 12 in some areas, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
What I want to say about that is, don't look at the rate.
Don't look at the rate.
If you can afford the payment, okay?
Yep.
Don't look at the rate. Don't look at the rate. Get your home, because homes appreciate 4 to 5% every year, proven.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, on average, right? Of course, we had the 08 time or whatever.
Let's not talk about that.
But all of that, reset itself.
Yeah, for sure.
And real estate always does. So what I would say is, if you're going to buy, marry the house, date the rate. All right? Because if you can afford the payment, even though the rate's not, below 4%
where you want
or
it
whatever,
to be, right.
If you can afford the payment and everything's going well, and when rates do adjust,
you can just readjust.
And now there's a bonus. You have a payment you could afford that's now less.
Right.
And then all the other people that are trying to buy homes when the rate's lower and now values are going up because multiple offers and everyone's competing, you already have your home.
Right.
And you just refinanced it. So
pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Marjory Cesar. Listen, last question for you. Last question for you as we close up. What's one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur coming up right now?
One piece of advice. Unless you know why you're doing it, don't do it at all. And I have a second one.
I like that.
Unless you know why you're doing it, don't do it at all, because that's the only thing that's going to pull you through the times when you want to quit.
Right.
That's number one.
Right.
And I just say, you know, always remember the breakthrough happens right after you really want to quit.
That's 2 great pieces of advice. And for those of you watching, listening, always remember, whether or not you move with intention, your actions or lack thereof is going to be the legacy that you leave. That's the legacy you're building. So ask yourself, what legacy are you building and what legacy will you leave behind? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Legacy Builders. We had the great Marjory Cesar. Thank you so very much for taking your time to being on our platform. And thank you to the great city of Atlanta for the great backdrop. Listen, and the sound effects. We got to thank you for that. All right, so signing out. We'll see you on the next one. Legacy Builders.